You'll hear a postgraduate called Tom Benton giving a talk about his experience of doing volunteer work in Thailand with a shark conservation program. For each question, write a word or short phrase in the
Hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to speak to you about my experience of volunteering with sharks in Thailand. Like many students, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do when I finished school. I was good at maths and sciences, but after a lot of thought, went for geography for my bachelor's degree. Then for my second degree, I did an MSc in marine biology, but didn't know what to do next. Then I saw an advert for this program, volunteering with sharks. So I made up my mind on impulse and applied. As you can imagine, the advert had attracted hundreds of hopeful graduates, so the competition was incredibly tough. Anyway, I filled in the application form and was called to 2 interviews, and the rest, as they say, is history. The idea of doing some voluntary work had been in the back of my mind for some time. A cousin had been involved in a project in a rainforest and said the experience had been inspirational. And although this sounded really cool, ever since I was a boy, I'd hoped I'd be able to spend some time on a tropical island working on a volunteer project. Funnily enough, when I was offered the job in Thailand working with sharks, I had second thoughts. My tutor was keen on me starting a PhD in the UK straight away, and all my other friends seemed to have found good jobs. It was my parents' suggestion to go for it, and them saying it was a golden opportunity I'd be unlikely to get again, that swayed me in the end. So finally, I'd taken the plunge, accepted the job, and there I was in Thailand and was doing my first dive. I'd seen photos of the wonderful corals and fish before, but what I hadn't been prepared for was the visibility. You could see everything really well. On my first dive, the team I was working with just wanted to familiarize me with the environment and to make sure I was safe and knew what I was doing underwater. I, on the other hand, had another agenda. I was counting off in my head all the amazing marine life I was seeing. I'd hoped to see a tiger shark, but no luck, though I did get a glimpse of a zebra shark just briefly. Then, after my first dive, I had to get down to some real work. I was told that we were doing marine surveys, and this sounded quite straightforward until I started trying out some of the instruments. It was a lot trickier than I'd expected. All the information we collected was then fed through a software program, and we analyzed the results later. Some of the team were involved in measuring the size of the sharks we found, but my goal was to look into the distribution of different shark species in different places. Before going to Thailand, I'd read up on sharks in various scientific journals and knew about the problems they're facing. So I was aware the work the team was doing was important, but actually my concern has increased dramatically since seeing the data that we produced during my time in Thailand. Without a doubt, more and more species of shark are being classified as vulnerable. This knowledge and the experience I had has, in fact, strengthened my dedication, and I want to carry out more research in this field. I'm hoping that further opportunities will arise in the not-too-distant future for me to do that. I've already decided to do a PhD on shark populations, and I've identified which university I'd love to do it at, and I'm sure the topic for my thesis would be acceptable. So, the only thing that's holding me back is funding, because without that, at the moment, it's out of the question.